My question, and everyone's gonna get this, your, cut out butter cookies. When it calls for butter, is it salted or unsalted butter?
I use unsalted.
Unsalted, okay. I don't see that any salt is in here, so that's just fine
No.
then. What would happen if we use salted butter? Anything?
Nothing. There wouldn't be any difference in the, I don't
Or the
think anybody would notice
Okay.
a difference in the taste.
Okay, now, sometimes I've heard that eggs should stay at room temperature. What would you say room temperature is? An hour, 2 hours, 3?
You know, you can actually put your eggs in warm water and let them sit for 10 or 15 minutes and then use them. So if I've forgotten to take eggs out, I just do the fast method and put them in a bowl of warm water.
Okay.
And they work
That's
just
fine.
Yeah.
Now it says 2 large eggs. So what if they're smaller eggs, would you go with 3?
I would.
Okay, now what, is there such a thing as messing this up? Is there such a thing as ruining it? You know, that's the type of thing I need to know. You know, I mean,
I think the only way you could really ruin this is if you kept dumping all the flour in without scraping the bowl down and checking it.
okay,
You know, this recipe says 5.5 cups. I have yet to use 5 cups.
okay.
That's how the recipe came.
What's the consistency of the dough?
The dough is like Play-Doh for me.
So it's not sticky at
no,
all?
stick to
no,
your hands.
not sticky.
Okay,
No.
Okay.
So you are not even putting the amount that's listed in flour, you're just
No.
really going by texture.
Yep.
because it
Do you
says,
find it's different every time, or not
You know
necessarily?
what happens is if you try different kinds of flour, it will be very different.
Okay.
So now that I've gotten used to King Arthur flour, I can just about tell immediately, you know, after 4 cups or 4.5 what it is.
So for someone who's never made a batch of cookies like this before, what advice would you give them to know how much flour to put in?
I would say just start with the 2 cups, gently add that in, and then go a cup at a time, and stop the mixer. Yeah, I wouldn't keep adding it and adding it. I do 1 cup at a time and stop, and then feel it.
so when you talk about mixer, Carol, is it so important to have that big mix master?
I love my KitchenAid, and I
So
have
you
the
need to all be
Brockner.
buying a KitchenAid. If you wanna make cookies.
Probably on
You
some
can now get them in all colors.
Yes.
Is there a certain hook or is it that wire?
The paddle. I use the
paddle.
paddle for the
Oh.
cookies.
Why is that?
Yeah. The paddle blends a lot better, and I bought a paddle with a rubber edge on it.
Yeah,
so
that
it
works
scrapes
amazing.
the bowl as it goes around.
Is a paddle the hook or what's the paddle?
The paddle
No, it's the
is
white,
flat.
like V kind of shape.
It almost looks like a heart
But
with
it's,
a,
Yeah.
with a
it's
hole
not.
through the middle.
Oh, okay, oh, that's it, and that's
It
you call a
doesn't-
paddle.
Yep.
Okay,
And
maybe
then-
I'll get the instructions out.
Do you sift your flour?
Oh, good.
No, I don't. I spoon it into the cup and then just use a knife and measure, you know, level it off. I never sift. And it's just unbleached, all-purpose.
Unbleached, okay. I thought of my question. Now, I see it says baking powder, and when I do my baking parties, I try to tell everyone, and they were so interested in that yesterday when I had a baking party here, is, especially this time of the year, do yourself a favor and go and buy a fresh box of baking powder, baking soda, to have that on hand. Because if you maybe thought, well, I don't think I baked last year, it might have been 5 years. I've seen people's spices and things say 1989.
Oh, sure.
And then they're wondering why things don't turn out. So, you know, go and buy fresh every year and make sure when you are buying it fresh. And that's something that I share at my shows too. Tell people you're starting to eat the baking season, do yourself a favor, because some people just don't check that.
That's the only reason why cake mixes have expiration dates on them.
Yes, and a lot of people think, well, I haven't opened it, it's okay. Everything in your refrigerator and cupboard should be looked for the expiration date. The other thing is when people open baking soda, they don't know that they should put an airtight or Ziploc bag, because you just open it and you have it sitting by your spices or keep it in the fridge, wherever. It's now taking on the odors of everything. And a lot of people, I mean, some things that maybe just come to us that we maybe would know, some people have no idea on that. So that's something you know, interesting as well. Any other comments or questions?
On your eggs, do you separate them or do you keep them together?
I keep them together. I just always break them into a little bowl, a separate bowl, and check the egg for any blood, or if it's real cloudy, I don't use it. So,
A thing every month.
Okay.
yeah, make sure there's no eggshells.
Yeah, okay. The other thing that I would like her to talk about for a minute is her expertise in making cheesecakes.
Oh, I love to make cheesecakes. They're on the list, and I have not been skimping on the kind of cream cheese I buy. There is a recipe, a German recipe. My parents were German. That uses ricotta cheese, but on the cheesecakes I sell, it's more common just to have the Philadelphia cream cheese, and I always use that brand for my cheesecakes. I always ask people what they prefer, a cookie crust or a graham cracker crust, it really doesn't matter. And then I have different flavors. A neighbor just asked for a turtle cake over the weekend, so it was, I kept counting, it was a cup of chocolate chips folded in, then there was a cup of chocolate chips melted, and that was folded into the batter, and then it was another cup of chocolate chips melted and spread on top, followed by a cup of caramel, which I melted, and toasted with almonds. And so it was wonderful. I haven't eaten it myself, I have not ever eaten that, but she said it was wonderful, she liked it. And I do make blueberry or strawberry or cherry cheesecakes with the fruit blended in. If people want a compote, you know, the fruit cooked and thickened a little bit, you can have that on the side or right in the middle. Oh, is it pumpkin?
Yes.
I could tell it
With
looks
ginger
beautiful.
ginger snap crust.
Oh, good for you.
Who made it for you?
They know me well. See, I tell you. Well,
Notice how she got around that one.
what I was wondering though, when someone orders it, you just look through your recipes and you're confident enough that you can just whip that up, or you don't have to make it and try it and sample it and.
I didn't feel I had to try the turtle cheesecake because I've made enough of the chocolate and chocolate swirl that I knew if I use Ghirardelli milk chocolate chips, and I love the quality of those, and so I knew if that was going in,
It's gonna be good.
yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so now you use the Ghirardelli chocolate. Would you always use Philadelphia cream cheese now? Would you buy the less fat or anything, or it's
No.
always full, everything's
Yeah.
always full
Yeah.
strength when you're doing a cheesecake?
I think with the baking, I love to put money into good quality flour and good quality butter. All the cookies I make are with butter.
So what would your butter brand be? If there was Surefine or
It
something
doesn't matter
just-
for a store brand.
Okay.
Right now, butter's been going for about $4 a pound.
Carol, let me ask, like when you use vanilla, now ours is the double strength Madagascar Pure. This is another tip I give at my baking shows. Don't buy lemon juice that's in a bottle in the refrigerator, lime juice, instant imitation things.
Right.
You want to buy the best. If you're going to need lemon or lime for your cheesecake, buy a lemon and a lime, juice it, zest it, score it, whatever you need to do. You don't want to skimp on vanilla. Don't be buying anything imitation, all the imitation things. I have found that when I wanted to make anise candies and my peppermint candies, I don't want to go and buy the imitation. You want to go right where you can buy the pure oils that are in little, see a little bottle, that are this bottle, big, and then you can get them. I used to pick them up at the pharmacy. It sells pure oils. So if you ask a pharmacy, but we do have the wonderful vanilla. Now, I think I asked yesterday at our baking, when you use vanilla, when it's so pure like this, and you need a teaspoon, would you use a half or would you use a teaspoon?
I do use a full teaspoon.
the full teaspoon no matter what. Because I think the imitation sometimes, there's flavoring to it, but I wasn't sure how much when you're using a pure, but you'll use it because we want to have that flavoring. Another thing that Carol talked about here that I just want to address, and when she talks about doing her cheesecakes and melting chocolate, and this is a product that we don't probably talk about a lot, but we've got these wonderful silicone bowls. So I was watching a little demo, pour all those little chips in here, those different colored, they look like quarters, and for any melting that you want to do, and all your Ghirardelli chocolates and things like that, and then you can pinch and squeeze it. So this is something that I think is nice that we don't talk about a lot either. But let me just tell what I know about our springform pan, because we had talked about this. I've talked to some people also that are professional bakers, and they had a hard time finding a really good springform pan. And then when I did a little more studying on it, I found out the absolute best have glass bottoms. And so I was really impressed when Pampered Chef came out with the glass bottom, because I figured that's what was the best. So the one we had earlier had ridges in the bottom, and you couldn't cut and serve nicely. So ours has that. I'm just going to move the cookies here. Some people might not. You want me to set that down, please? Some people might not know how a springform pan works. Not sure how it'll work. But there is the spring right here on the side, and so all you need to do is release this. Now let me just tell you, you guys know that taco dip is my thing. So I'm thinking I am going to wow this group with a dessert. It's an ice cream dessert, actually, a pumpkin ice cream. So I'm quickly looking, and I scanned it, and it talked about an hour. Oh my gosh, I got plenty of time. But I really wanted it to set, so I think I'll do it at 2 o'clock today because I didn't get to the store. So I go to the store, I get everything ready. Well, the first part chills for an hour. The second part chills 8 hours to overnight. This was at 3 o'clock. So, does this sound like me? All right, so anyway, I don't know if this is going to like this. I'm feeling like it's kind of set. So let's just see a little bit. So I unsnap that. And then all you're doing, I would like a round of applause, please. Here. And then now, then what you want to do, there's layers up there. There's one cup of pumpkin ice cream Cool Whip. Our cinnamon plus is in there. But then we've got our easy accent decorator, and this was on the picture of in the newsletter this month. Okay, does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Did anybody get the newsletter?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what's on the cover, is this, and just going all the way around, and that's how it looks. That's how it looks. Open your mouth. That's how it looks. Now, Cool Whip, soft cream cheeses, puddings, any little sugar. Years ago in Pampered Chef, we'd take a buttermilk biscuit, put it in butter, roll it in cinnamon sugar, put it on our baking stone, and then let the biscuit, so you almost had like a sugar donut, but it was inexpensive because you just bought buttermilk biscuits, and they used to be 4 containers of 10 for $1.09. That was in the day. And so you could make a lot of biscuits for $1. So then we would put a jelly or a Cool Whip in here at the party and go in the side or the bottom and just a little bit, so you have it's a jelly-filled donut. So, but I wanted to show this in front of Carol because I know she's the cheesecake queen.